Hello and welcome back to Koru Kiwi Arts. Now today I'm going to do a drawing of one of my childhood past memories, 6th Sense. I'm going to explain to you as I'm drawing it, like a story. But anyway, I'd like to say thanks to all those who left comments in my latest videos. I've been uploading some animations, some things that I've been well, I actually enjoy doing animation, but they take a long time to do. Just to move a character from A to B, it can take 25 moves, so you can just imagine how many individual drawings I've actually had to do to create some of these short videos. Now they're very simple. I don't have any high-tech programming skills, or I don't use high-tech programming. I use pencil 2D. Yeah, I felt like I feel like I've been chewing gum. My mouth is all gooey. I've been using 2D pencil. What's wrong with my mind today? 2D pencil. And the pixels are quite blocky. It's okay. I like the program because it doesn't crash and it's so easy to use. And but the pixels are quite blocky. I wish they were smooth because then it would look more appealing. You can't draw circles on this program too, so you have to do it by freehand. But blocks and squares and stuff like that you can. But anyway, let's get on with the this drawing, and thank you again for being here. So I was very young, and my parents took me to Rarotonga. My father was doing a job for someone, and he had me climbing the beams, putting wires through the beams, because I was small and I was agile and I could climb up and weave the wire through. It was very high up. I still remember it. It was very dirty and horrible. But we went to Rarotonga and we were there for a couple of weeks. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of stuff going on the island. So I'm drawing a beach of a place that I remember, and I had a connection. Now this is not a religious video, but I was very young. I wanted to know what the meaning of life was all about, and I wanted to test God. So before you turn off the video and move on to another video, please listen to my story, because you'll be quite amazed. I was young and I wasn't sure what the meaning of life was all about. I'm still trying to figure that out. Why are we here? Why are we busy learning everything that we need to know, and then suddenly we're gone? We're no longer here. We pass our knowledge on to someone else, and then they go, and then so on. So what's the meaning of life? Is it to have children? Is it to keep our DNA going forever? Is it to learn experiences here on Earth and then go somewhere else in the afterlife? I don't know. But what's the whole purpose of us being here? Anyway, I wanted to test God. I was very young. I know I was young because I got a picture of myself next to my mother as we're coming off the aeroplane, and we're in the airport, and the island people there, the Rarotongans, they put a hibiscus flower necklace around my neck, and I was below my mother's shoulders. Now, my mother's 5'8". I'm 6'3", and so I'm a lot taller now. But I was very short. I think I might have been maybe 14, 13. But I was walking along the beach, and I said, if there's a real God out there, can you please let me know, give me a sign. I need you to give me a sign if you are real. And so I said to God, if you're real, then okay, I'm going to walk 50 steps in the sand, and I want you to reveal to me the most beautiful shell, the most colourful shell on the beach. And so I walked 50 steps in the sand, 50 steps on the sand, and when I made my 50 steps, I looked down, and I couldn't see anything at first, and then when I looked closely, there it was. Just beneath the sand was this little shell. It wasn't very big. It was very small, but it was multicolored. It had every color you can imagine in the or on the shell. It's vibrant in colors, and I thought, wow. There was no other shell like it on the beach. You know, it was very small but very colourful, so it stood out. And I said, okay, I'm going to test you again. I want you to reveal the biggest shell on the beach, but I'm going to walk this time. I'm going to walk 120 steps in the sand. And so I walked 120 steps. It didn't matter if I was going to walk wider steps or shorter steps or whatever. I eventually made my 120 steps, and I looked. Once I stopped, I looked on the ground and I couldn't see anything. But there it was. It was right under the sand, below my feet, and it was huge. Now, it wasn't just the shell. I was expecting to see a whole shell, but it wasn't. It was the core of the shell. It was the center, so the whole outside of the shell had been broken away, and it was just the core of the shell. And it was long. It was almost half the height of myself, and it was buried in the sand. So if this was a shell with all its outer casing, it would have been massive. And it was the only one on the beach. I went, wow, this is incredible. What are the odds of that happening? And I looked around, and there was nothing else that even came close to that size. So it was, I'll draw it here if you can see it. So here's a shell. Okay, so all this was broken away, so all I could see was the core of it. So this is the core of the shell. It was long, and it was sort of jagged on the edges, but I knew what it was, and that's what was buried under the sand, the core of it. So it was very big, and I'll draw the little shell here that I saw, little coloured shell. It's very tiny and it's full of lots of colours, and I thought, wow, what are the odds of that actually happening? So I want to test God once more, and so I did, and guess what? It happened again. It came true. Now, whatever that was, I can't remember it, even from today. I cannot remember what the third thing was. Or maybe it was the second thing. Maybe the shell was the last part of the puzzle. But there was 3 questions that I tested God with, and only 2 of them I can remember, but the third one I can't remember. I thought it came to me last night. And for some reason it disappeared. Maybe it was a smaller shell on the beach, but then again there's lots of small shells on the beach. So it was the most colourful shell on the beach and the biggest shell on the beach, and there was one more other thing. So this is the beach. Now Rarotonga beaches are very stony, and there's a lot of volcanic rocks around, and their beaches, they're white sands, but they're not, they're not as pleasant to walk on than other beaches in the South Pacific. Their beaches are very stony, and they got sea urchins in the water too. They're like long sausages, and if you pull them out of the water, they squirt water at you. And the beach was a lot bigger than this. Hope you can see it, because I'm drawing in pencil. I find it a lot easier for me to draw in pencil, because the pen doesn't seem to appeal. It's not appealing at the moment for me. Sometimes you get these vibes. Pencils seem to give me freedom. But anyway, and I almost drowned on this island. This very scary moment I had. And it was very rough. Even though there's a coral reef that runs around the island, the water is very rough. There's a lot of shipwrecks out too on the islands, or around the islands that are around Rarotonga. Rocks are interesting to draw. They're like clouds. You can't really make a mistake, because they come in all different shapes and forms. And I'll do the sea line and the horizon there, and I'm adding pen in here so you can see it a lot better. It's not one of my best drawings, but it gives you an idea of what I saw.
quickly I thought I'd add some black pen in here to highlight some of the detail. I'm just quickly drawing it in, and it's looking a little bit better. So there we go.
So there you go. Oh wow. So that was a little bit of an experience that I had when I was a child. I was 14 years old. That's almost 40 years ago. It's over 40 years ago, yes. And thank you so much for watching, and I will try and draw something different next week. Bye now. And thank you for being here.